Are a few who have real-life stories.
I cook for my neighbors. Most of them work, and a lot of time they ask me to make some food for them. And at a time, it was like you could actually do this in big time. And that was how Lovely was conceived. We thought of expanding the business, but then we were restricted with fund. The DBN loan was introduced.
I heard about DBN through TV adverts. There was need to get a loan to facilitate the growth of this school. And what fascinated me about it is that the process did not take a long time.
A friend, a banker friend that told me about the DBN loan. He showed me what are involved. It was a good one. I said, okay, let me buy into it.
Before now, when you consider other costs, salaries and other things, importation of vehicles for use, maintenance of the old vehicles, it was not that easy. We were struggling to put up our permanent site, our ultra-modern park. In fact, that was the essence of us looking for a loan from FCMB, which eventually we got it from DBN.
Through the microfinance that I got the loan, I applied. Within 3 days, I was being funded. I was doing a stock of about 40,000 fish. But immediately when I assessed the loan, I have to increase to 65,000 fish.
We got this DBN loan to fund the construction of the proposed Top Faith University. As an investment company, we basically invested in educational institutions, which include Top Faith International Secondary School, Top Faith Legacy College, and Top Faith Montessori Nursery and Primary School. And what we did was basically market our schools. Students would come in, pay school fees, and we basically use that for the everyday running and operation of these schools. We, of course, employed staff, carried out the educational activity. And it was until we decided to expand further. It wasn't until we decided to expand further as moved from the normal high school level to a tertiary education institution that we then decided to get a loan to aid us in achieving that dream. I would indeed recommend that other MSMEs take advantage of the DBN loans.
I had the opportunity to visit DBN in Abuja at headquarters. I was really impressed of the management quality of management of DBN. I was really impressed of the professionality of staff. But you cannot only get personal impressions, you can also look at rankings and ratings, and there you can see that DBN is a well-renowned and a well-established institution serving the Nigerian economy and the Nigerian private economy.
The DBN model, I don't think there isn't another exact replica of that model that I know of globally. What has happened in the case of DBN, it has borrowed from what has worked in other development finance institutions in the world and has tried to avoid what has not worked, both globally and in Nigeria. So it has developed what we refer to as a mixed approach, for which there is no exact equivalent in the world. In the case of the Development Bank of Nigeria, even though the government has majority shareholding, the board of the bank is structured in a way as to ensure that there is a majority of independent directors, so that these directors are recruited on the basis of their vast knowledge and experience in that sector, so that they can operate and provide leadership, strategic leadership to the bank to be able to achieve its objectives. And even these independent directors, they are recruited through an open and transparent process, competitively, rather than being appointed. Another dimension, for example, that the DBN has learned from institutions like the BNDS is to avoid it being set up by an act of parliament. It may become an instrument of narrow political objectives, but instead to register it as a public liability company under the Company and Allied Matters Act by the Corporate Affairs Commission, so that it can operate independently as a public liability company and therefore maintain both development as well as commercial objectives. These are some of the features of the Development Bank of Nigeria, which it has borrowed in an ad hoc manner from different institutions based on what has worked and what has not worked.
For the MSMEs, like I'd always say, this is a new dawn for them. Because this is the first time a financial institution is being set up strictly to focus on micro, small, and medium enterprises, the engine of every economy. So that is one. So for them, this is a new dawn. I will encourage them to take advantage of this bank that is here for them to access financing from their financial institutions. What I will encourage them to do is to approach their financial institutions, even if they are not yet working with DBN, if they've not been onboarded with DBN, they should ask their financial institutions, why are they not working with DBN? So that is on one point. They should be able to encourage them. Secondly, with the engagement we're having with the financial institutions, we want to ensure that all financial institutions that are eligible are outlets for us to do our lending, for on lending to them. So we create options for them to be able to have access to the funding from different sources to ensure that they are able to have competitive pricing in the long run. For the financial institutions themselves, from the ones that we started working with, I can assure you that they've seen how effective this has been, how efficient our funding has been, and how encouraging our intervention in terms of trying to provide technical assistance guarantees is encouraged. So we continue that engagement. We'd like to talk to those ones who have not yet come on board. We continue to engage them and expect that as time goes on, we'll be able to have them on board. The idea is to ensure that all eligible financial institutions in Nigeria are partners with Development Bank of Nigeria to provide access to financing for these micro, small, and medium enterprises.
It is a new dawn for MSMEs in Nigeria. The time is right, the stage is set, and Development Bank of Nigeria is poised to change the landscape for MSME financing in Nigeria. Welcome. Visit your bank, ask for a DBN loan, comply with your bank's due process for accessing a DBN loan. If approved, DBN will disburse the loan through your bank. Development Bank of Nigeria. Financing sustainable growth.
NTAI has gone mobile. Catch your favorite programs anywhere in the world by going to Play Store on Android and App Store on iOS. Search for Vision TV UK, download and install. Then you're good to go.
The talking drum is an hourglass-shaped and two-faced with a drum on each end. It is also known as waist drum. The drum is made from animal hide and has leather cords which run along its body attached to the animal hide on either ends. Talking drums vary in sizes, from the smallest called gongong to the largest known as yailu and dundun. The talking drum is held under the arm and squeezed as the drummer hits the surface with a bent stick. The act of squeezing the cords changes the pitch and gives various notes and messages. The higher the drum is squeezed, the higher the notes produced, giving the drum a type of rhythm that can be used to communicate. origin of the talking drum can be traced to the ancient Old Oyo Empire, from where its popularity has spread to other parts of southwest Nigeria. With the advent of the transatlantic slave trade, the talking drum was subconsciously exported to other parts of the world. Today, in parts of Brazil, Germany, France, and so on, the talking drum has become part of their musical instruments. The talking drum is called by different names across Nigeria, some of which include Gangan, Dundun, or Iyailu among the Yorubas, Kalagun among the Hausas, and Igba among the Igbos. The pitch of the talking drum can be regulated based on how the player strikes the surface of the drum and squeezes the connecting strings to change its lyrics and rhythm. The talking drum mimics the way human beings talk, hence the name talking drum. The talking drum is believed to communicate with the spiritual world, as it does also with the living. The talking drum produces prayers and blessings for every new day in countless villages and palaces. It is the oldest instrument used in communicating messages in most parts of Yoruba land till date.
"24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
This is Lagos, Nigeria.
Hello and thanks for joining us at this hour for the news. I am Elizabeth Omori. Now let's take the headlines. House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values and the Ministry of Information and Culture reaffirm commitment to collaborate more towards effective information dissemination in the country. Federal High Court sitting in Abuja orders interim forfeiture of some property linked with the former chairman of the Pension Reforms Task Team, Abdulrasheed Maina, and his son. Niger sets to manufacture cars from scratch to finish. Thank you so much for joining us. Now let's begin with the President's visit to Russia. President Muhammadu Buhari is now in Sochi, Russia for a 3-day inaugural Russia-Africa Summit and Economic Forum, which will focus on peace, security and development. The Economic Forum and Summit will hold on the 23rd and 24th October 2019, with 4 plenary sessions that will be attended by more than 30 African heads of state and governments who have confirmed participation. The summit will be co-chaired by President Putin, who will present a keynote address at the opening on Wednesday, and the African Union chairman.
More than 30 heads of state and prime ministers have pledged their commitment to be here. President Muhammadu Buhari is part of those leaders that have accepted to be here. So it's an important one for our continent. It is important for Russia. At the end of this summit, it is hoped that Nigeria and African countries would put together for themselves a new security architecture for the continent that should hopefully, take from the Russian experience in protecting cities against terrorism, in protecting our borders against infiltration by criminals, inflow of weapons, of drugs, smuggling, and illegal explosives. So security is important. We obviously would expect developments in trade and investment, which lies at the heart of the meeting itself, and such matters that may also impinge on culture, identity and sovereignty of nations on the continent.
The Russian president will meet at the Nigeria and Russian bilateral meeting on Wednesday 23rd, and the Nigerian leader will make a statement at the summit on Thursday, October 24, 2019. About 250 Nigerian business interests will be participating in the forum. And back home, the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values and the Ministry of Information and Culture have recommitted themselves to collaborating more towards effective, better improvement in information dissemination in the country. This was at an interactive session between the House Committee members, Minister of Information and Culture, and heads of agencies under the ministry. Adebola Brooksland Sunday reports.
The minister and his team were received by the chairman of the committee, Olusegun Odebunmi, who in his remarks said information management is critical to national cohesion and development.
Honorable colleagues, invited guests.
In this regards, the chairman promised effective oversight to ensure Nigerians get the best from the ministry and its agencies.
This committee will oversight all agencies under its jurisdiction without any other witch hunting. The approach will also be a police patrol method, preventive in nature and not fire alarm, that is detective.
That remarks obviously pleased the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who said the familiarization meeting will go a long way in helping the committee to understand the challenges of the ministry and help fast-track solutions to enhance productivity.
The committee is actually meant to facilitate and help the ministry. That is the purpose of the committee. Even when the committee comes to do oversight, they are not coming there with the purpose of punishing anybody. They are coming there with the purpose of listening to our complaints, and where we are not doing too well, let us know. Where we are doing well, encourage us.
The Information and Culture Ministry and its agencies are scheduled to defend their 2020 budgetary proposal at the National Assembly Wednesday, 23rd October 2019. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
And out to budget defense, the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, says establishment of a national air carrier and aviation university are part of plans the ministry would like to undertake with public-private partnership for 2020. He stated this while addressing the House of Representatives Committee on Aviation during the Ministry's budget defense. With a proposal of more than 41 billion naira as capital expenditure for 2020, the Minister of Aviation, Hadi Sirika, says the amount, when released, would be used to sustain infrastructure renewal and upgrade of necessary aviation equipment for safety and security, including other projects to be undertaken under the public-private partnership. The Civil Aviation Act, forwarded to the National Assembly by the President, both sides agreed would improve activities in the aviation industry. Also at the House for Budget Defense was the Minister of Science and Technology, Ogbonaya Ono, during which he highlighted the ministry's performance for 2019 and projections for 2020. The minister commended the National Assembly for working in tandem with the ministry in efforts to put Nigeria on the world map as an emerging nation on new innovations in science and technology. Let's now move to security. The National Assembly is working closely with the Nigerian Army to set up operations and stem contemporary security challenges in parts of the country. This was the thrust of the visit of the National Assembly Joint Committee on Army to the Chief of Army Staff in Abuja. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa has details.
The National Assembly Joint Committee on Army recently embarked on fact-finding visits to some Nigerian Army units and formations to assess ongoing operations, troops' welfare and existing platforms. This is to enhance the knowledge of the members of the 9th Assembly on the success and challenges confronting the Army in view of their role in combating emerging security threats.
The soldier doesn't complain. He normally obeys before he even complains, if any.
The legislators are here to further seek ways of supporting the formation, effectively address threats truncating socio-economic activities in the country.
Especially now that we are faced with humongous challenges in the security. For what we have seen so far, we are very, very proud of the Nigerian Army.
You've taken the bold step by the proposal to have an independent or separate funding channel for the armed forces.
Details of the deliberations were held behind closed doors. From the Nigerian Army headquarters in Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Still on security, the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has neutralized several Islamic State of West Africa province fighters at Boka Meram on the fringes of Lake Chad in the northern part of Borno State. In a statement by NAF Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Ibi Kunle Daramola, the operation was executed on the 21st of October 2019 based on credible intelligence reports that indicated a resumption of the use of the location to provide logistic support to the terrorists using fishing activities as a cover. The ATF therefore dispatched its attack aircraft to engage designated areas within the settlement where more than 35 terrorists were observed. The aircrafts scored accurate hits on the target area, leading to the neutralization of several ISWAP fighters as well as the destruction of some of the structures. Let's now move to the judiciary. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has ordered the interim forfeiture of 22 properties linked to the former chairman of the Pension Reforms Task Team, Abdul Rashid Maina, and his son. Justice Folashade Giwa Ogunbanjo gave the order this Tuesday following a motion by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. Olabode Arewa tells us more.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission filed an ex parte motion seeking an order of the court that Abdul Rashid Maina and Faisal, his son, should temporarily forfeit the said landed properties, allegedly being the proceeds of fraud. The 20 properties in question were alleged to have been purchased in the two names. In the ex parte motion, counsel to the FCC, Salisu Abubakar, indicated that the properties were located in Abuja, Borno, Kaduna, Sokoto, Kano, and Nasarawa states. Justice Folashade Giwa Ogunbanjo, while granting the order, directed that the interim forfeiture notice be publicized in the National Daily within 14 days. This is to enable anyone with an interest in the 23 properties across the country to show cause why they should not be permanently forfeited to the federal government. The court also ordered that the processes should be served on the defendants before the 19th of November, the next adjourned date. Abdul Rashid Maina is being alleged of corruptly enriching himself as the head of the Pension Reforms Task Team. In Abuja, Olabode Arewa, NTA News.
Now to political matters. About 85 political parties may be deregistered by INEC for not meeting the criteria as stipulated by the Constitution on registration of political parties. Chairman, Senate Committee on INEC, Kabir Gaya, says the committee is looking into the number of political parties, stressing that the existing 92 is obviously too many.
First of all, we are looking at the issue of the number of political parties. Actually, there are too many. We have 91 political parties, and presently the court has now added another political party to us, which is 92, and there are many applying. But there is a criteria constitutionally that the parties should have a kind of qualification or at least requirement before they are registered or registered. So virtually we are going to register almost 85 political parties because they are not qualified. They don't even have a councillor or a house or an assembly member. So that all those parties should be registered. But the problem is that if you register a party, they will come back through the back door again and register. But we have to have now a conditions, tough conditions to tough conditions for registration of political parties, whereby we could maintain maybe the number of 4 or 5 by God's grace.
Gaya also speaks on the coming elections in Bayelsa and Kogi states.
Already, and we'll go through that, but still we as members of the committee, we are going to do oversight of that of the states and see how they are ready for the elections, and we will expect them to continue to be free, fair election in the country, and we will definitely support them and supervise them.
I spoke to State House correspondent Jide Onifade after his visit to the Vice President. And away from political matters, the Buhari Media Organization has advised the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, to avoid any action that could truncate smooth academic exercise nationwide, just to protest President Buhari's insistence on full implementation of the Integrated Payroll and Personnel Information System. In a statement signed by its chairman, Niyi Akinshiju, BMO said ASU's plan for a shutdown over IPPIS could easily be interpreted as corruption fighting back and should not allow itself to be seen as saboteurs of a scheme that is bound to weed out ghost workers and improve the efficiency of payrolls administration in public universities. BMO further accused ASU of mobilizing its members for a strike, even when records show that the federal government had agreed to take the peculiarities of the university system into consideration. The Buhari Group urged ASU to avoid a situation where it would be seen as a group that is averse to accountability in the university system, especially as the country stands a chance of saving more money once workers in public universities are captured in the cost-saving scheme. You're watching the news on NTA International. Let's take a breather. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
That channel where you watch just now don't waka, no panic.
There's me no panic.
You go do it by yourself like ABC. Oh yeah, press the menu button on top your remote. Scroll up and down till you see Information Central. Then press OK.
Press OK.
Check the signal strength and quality. If the signal strength and quality pass 70, make you press the exit button, go back. Go advanced options, then choose installation, then go to reset and press OK.
Yeah, press OK. Wow, now you self fit catch all those channels will be one miss road by yourself. Yes, make your group for no loss. You see as I do, Abi? And I see as I do,
Go TV, live it, love it.
And I see as we do,
Thanks for staying with us. Now to education. The legislature is oftentimes regarded as the nucleus of every democracy. With this understanding, therefore, the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies is using its second matriculation for HND students to bring to the fore collective responsibility of professionals towards the development of legislative institutions in Nigeria. Kenneth Nanim reports.
As an academic and research institution affiliated to the University of Benin, the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies was also established to provide training and other technical assistance to the legislators and their aides, bridging professional gaps in the activities of Nigeria's legislative institutions.
It is a consolidation of the effort of the Institute to provide a holistic and integrated capacity building programs for all aspects of the legislative functions in Nigeria.
That I will pay due respect and obedience to the Institute.
That I will pay due respect and obedience to the Institute. Having been admitted into UNIBEN for the 2019-2020 academic section, the 11 matriculants and other 24 students already in HND2 for the same course are future professionals, expected to change the narrative in the legislative process.
Higher National Diploma in Official Reporting is to produce knowledgeable and skilled personnel capable of providing technical services for effective coverage and reporting of activities and proceedings of government and other institutions.
The National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies is also working in collaboration with the National Assembly for effective service delivery and for the sustenance of Nigeria's democracy. Kenneth Nanim.
Let's now be my searchlight on automobile. Nigerians may soon beat hands on their chests and boast of finally being citizens of a country that manufactures cars from scratch to finish. This is because there are ongoing efforts by the federal government through the National Automotive Design and Development Council to domesticate manufacturing in Nigeria. Joseph Johnson reports that already the council has launched an automotive design challenge to explore the innovative talents of Nigerians.
It is an established fact that for any nation to move forward, it has to grow its innovative talents. In many countries around the world, the automotive industry plays a strategic role in economic development, and Nigeria is catching in on this. This time, a notch higher towards domesticating automobile manufacturing. This man, a renowned global car designer, Jelani Aliyu, is the Director General, National Automotive Design and Development Council, and is bringing his expertise in the automobile industry home. Despite his credentials in the field, he is giving opportunity to Nigerians between the ages of 18 to 40 to come up with a design of Nigeria applicable mini taxi and tractor with the launch of the challenge in Abuja.
There will be winners from each geopolitical zone which will be given prizes, and then from all those winners from the geopolitical zones we'll get the first, second and third national winners. We'll bring them close, we'll bring them to NADDC and make them part of our design team.
Nigeria is said to spend more than $8 billion annually in purchasing automobile, but many here say that will soon change.
The federal government will support your efforts through provision of necessary legal framework and desired support.
I think by next year, people who have genuine means of livelihood can own made in Nigerian vehicles, pay 10% at 8% interest rate, and pay over a period of 15 years.
But to roll the expected ideas on wheels, experts note that the auto policy need to be fully implemented. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Let's now take you to Calabar, where cultural diplomacy has been described as an effective tool to building peace in the international community while serving as a medium to promote bilateral and multilateral relations among nations. This formed a center of discourse during a visit by ambassadors of Bangladesh and Belize to the Cross River State Governor, Ben Ayade. Paul Abel has details.
Having participated at the first dry run, Carnival Calabar 2019, the two ambassadors were impressed by the performances expressed by young people on the streets, which they added has lots of similarities with their countries. It is on that premise the Cross River State Government, which operates a garment factory, promised to extend the cultural affinity to the area of business by partnering Bangladesh, the second largest garment producer in the world after China.
I can tell you, by the time we go to Bangladesh and back, we will be signing off a very big contract with Bangladesh. to work with us and take advantage of the African Growth Opportunity Act and partner with us for the export of garments from Cross River State to America.
The visiting ambassadors, who said Carnival Calabar is a global brand, also promised the participation of cultural troops from their countries at the 2019 event.
We live in an era where we cannot think or act in isolation with the rest of the world. We are interconnected. We're living in a globalized world. So what Cross River State has been hosting with unfailing regularity for many years, I know.
But it's for me, it's a great privilege to be coming to this place and understanding the necessity to invite others to come here and appreciate.
They equally visited the Cross River Garment Factory, established in 2016 with more than 1,000 women and youths on its payroll. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
Now, for stories trending around the world, let's join Adebola Brookston Sunday.
Thousands of Sudanese have rallied in several cities, including the capital, Khartoum, urging the country's new authorities to dissolve the former ruling party of deposed leader Omar al-Bashir. The gathering also marked the October 21, 1964 uprising that had removed the then military leader Ibrahim Aboud. That push ended 6 years of military rule in Sudan, following a wave of riots and strikes. In another development, Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has held talks with his Russian counterparts Vladimir Putin at the Black Sea resorts of Sochi on Tuesday, hours before a ceasefire between Turkish and Kurdish forces in northern Syria was set to expire. Putin and Erdogan's talk focused on normalizing the situation in northeast Syria. Meanwhile, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has told MPs that if the withdrawal program was rejected and the EU confirmed a delay to the 31st October exit, he would instead push for a general election. The Prime Minister said Parliament had been caught in a deadlock of its own making, and he would in no way allow months more of this. But opposition MPs called the threat to pull the bill childish blackmail. Adebola Brookston Sunday, NTA News.
And now to sports. Sports Minister Lutz Nigeria supremacy in World Scrabble. Details with Kene Imagudike on Sports Updates.
Following victories recorded by Nigeria on the continent in Scrabble, Youth and Sport Development Minister Sunday Dare has vowed to use the sport as a trigger to develop other mind games in the country. The minister re-echoed this when he received 2 trophies from the Nigerian Scrabble Federation team that emerged champions in the just-ended World Scrabble Championships in India.
We'll also bring you into our private funding. We're to raise private fund to be able to support our federations.
You try to celebrate your success first while you walk towards those challenges that you face before going there.
National coach Tammy Ikalo also emerged champion in the Indian Open Scrabble Championship with over 30 countries in participation. The Nigeria Referees Association says it is ready for the commencement of 2019-2020 Nigeria Professional Football League season November 3, following the conclusion of a week-long national fitness test for members at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja.
Everybody in the state that are participating in their local matches, we only now review them to make sure that they are off date. You know, anything you have to service yourself and prepare yourself for the season.
In golf, the ladies section of IVB International Golf and Country Club Abuja has reaffirmed its dedication to the development of more younger players after handicap 18 player Jumaid Abdullahi won the 20th close tournament.
I want to use this opportunity to call on all Nigerian women to find time to join golfing and also to find time to do some exercise in order to keep fit.
Over 70 lady golfers participated in the competition. With Sports Update, Kenan Ima Abodike, NTA News.
And before we go, let's take a quick look at the weather picture for Nigeria and other cities around the world. That's the news at this hour on ABC International. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Don't forget to join us at 9 p.m. for the network news. Good evening.
This is NTA International.
Have you been thinking about coming to Nigeria? Then what are you waiting for? Come share in our wealth of vast resources. Come discover treasure. Come to where there's lots of business opportunities. Come to Nigeria. Nigeria, my nation, my pride.
NTAI has gone mobile. Catch your favorite programs anywhere in the world by going to Play Store on Android and App Store on iOS. Search for Vision TV UK, download and install. Then you're good to go.
Exotic land of rainbow, a giant in the sun.